when I perform, there's like a new version of me that's free to expose myself and just be myself and my most authentic self in front of people. If you listen to my mixes and my live shows, it all has to make sense. The whole thing tells one big story.
Who are you?
I'm living right now on this life as Gabrielle. Some people know me as Zingara, but that's not all of me. No matter what could happen in personal life, there's still a part of me that's gonna go out on that stage and freaking crush it each time. It kills me in so many ways. I was like rock bottom. I had 11 injuries in my body.
Wow.
I started DJing because I couldn't dance. This has been my self-help year. Get help, don't wait, do it. I can channel things when I write music. Step one is knowing that there is a sixth sense / whatever you want to call it. We are all radio stations. Every single one of us is a radio, and we get to change the station based on the frequency. Trust your intuition. It's coming from a place wherever in the ether that it's never going to make you feel anxious. Who is listening to the thoughts in your head? Because if you're hearing it, then it is not you. So who are you?
Who are you?
I am a soul that has incarnated in this timeline to experience the physical things and joys and hardships of this world and to grow and learn.
I'm struck by that because it's an answer that I've gotten from a lot of the people, and particularly a lot of the people who are neuroscientists that have said that kind of very similar answer that you gave. I'm curious, why is that the answer that you chose for that?
That's genuinely how I view myself and try to wire my brain and life to kind of take myself out more by still being myself, if that makes any sense. Like, I feel like my whole life perspective is I'm a soul, you're a soul, we're both one. And the illusion of separation is the biggest illusion of this world. And so the more I look at myself as like, I'm literally multidimensional. I'm living right now on this life as Gabrielle, and some people know me as Zingara, but that's not all of me. And there's so much more to us too than we even look at ourselves. So if I was like, I am a DJ, like that's like putting myself, even like I'm an artist, it's still, we're so much more than who we even think we are. And so I feel like, yeah, like the perspective of, I'm here in this illusion simulation and I'm here for a good time, not a long time. I'm gonna eat what I want, I'm gonna do what I want, and I'm gonna have fun, and I'm gonna try to spread that too. And that's, yeah, like that's been the biggest lesson, experience, and beauty that I've learned thus far as Gabrielle.
Yeah. I that was something that I heard you talk about in another podcast, was that there's you, Gabrielle, and there's Zingara, who is this artist project, and to your point, they're both one and the same, but they are different. I'm curious for you, where do you draw the distinction between Zingara and Gabrielle?
It's definitely very like blended. I feel like Zingara is like a piece, and same with Gabrielle. Like Gabrielle's a piece of my soul. Zingara is like a piece of that piece. Just like in music genres, there's like EDM, and then there's dubstep, and then there's like the heavier, like there's like the subgenres of subgenres. It's like that's a little piece of me, but it's also at the same time that I'd say it's a little piece. It's taken over. It's the biggest part of my life, and in like the most magical way, and in like the hardest ways, because there's a lot of sacrifice with that, and like the project that I do does come with a lot of sacrifice, but I it is harder. Like I feel like the line blends, but when I perform and when I'm like in front of people, and it's been this way like my whole life, I guess that's just the name for it. There's like a new version of me that's like not introverted and is like free to like expose myself and just be myself and my most authentic self in front of people. And that's like the essence of like my project in Zingara, of like my highest self like kind of coming through in those moments and like speaking through me and like channeling like just that power and strength. And like it's funny because too when you have to go on stage, like it's like you almost have to have like that ego there of like I'm performing, like people want to see me like be extra, but then like my inner self is like, well, that's like embarrassing, or like, like I have to act like I'm the star of the show. Like it's like it's scary and it's awesome at the same time, but it's more like an ego thing for me where it's like, where do I find that line of like, be that artist, like know
Mm.
yourself, know your worth, and then still like, we're all the same. And there's no reason that you guys should be looking at me.
Mm.
Like I'm back and forth like constantly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that it's just like a higher version that comes out of me and like has that strength to like walk in the room or be on the stage and like put on a freaking show.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
You talked about a little earlier, like sacrifice and the things you've had to sacrifice for there. I'm curious, even just like stepping onto a show, sometimes like you might have maybe things in your Gabrielle life that are not going so great, but to your point, you've got a show to put on stuff. Is that where you feel like Zingara helps you take over and like really step into that moment, even when there's all this other chaos maybe going in the background?
Yeah, like 100%. Like it's no matter what could happen in personal life, there's still like a part of me that's gonna go out like on that stage and like freaking crush it each time. And it
Yeah.
also it heals me in so many ways because there's been so many instances when I'm on the road and something will be happening to me, and even within like 5 minutes of me performing, I'll find out something and then I still have to go on stage and like put that smile on. And it's the
Yeah.
biggest challenge, but then overcoming that and then realizing that's exactly why I do it, because I'm having so much fun. It's so much more healing than I could have ever asked for. And I'm so grateful for it because, yeah, like I could be going through something and like I'll go out on that stage and be dancing with everyone and just enjoying music and just in like that flow state to where it's like nothing else matters right now. And that's the whole point. Like
Hmm.
we're in the now. And so really focus and keeps me like in that now when I'm performing. And yeah, very
Yeah. And
grateful.
I mean, somebody who's been to, a couple of your shows and like is big in the rave scene, I would say that's a big gift that you give to all of us is that like hour and a half or several hours just, or days if we're at a festival. It's like the ability to be in the now. So just also, I guess, as a viewer, thank you for, your work because I think it helps us
Hey,
get into that same moment as
yeah,
well. Yeah.
that's my goal.
Good. Yeah. You talked about like some of those harder moments, and one of the things I was kind of curious about for you. I mean, you're so young for sort of the rise that you're on through this space, and you're obviously somebody who's done a lot of spiritual development and growth. But like, what are some of like the hardest moments or challenges that you've faced as a young starlet DJ who's like growing in this
Yeah.
field?
Um, so a couple things come to mind. I think that one of the first of all, I would like to preface this with like I have so many blessings and so much gratitude that every time I talk about like the hard things, I'm like, wow, I sound silly. But from the Gabrielle perspective, if it's only me, right? And I'm not thinking about that, it's being perceived is really hard. And I think a lot of people start the career path because they want to be perceived. And then it, it's like, don't do that. And that's like the hardest, like growing in front of people and like learning in front of people, making mistakes in front of people, and people constantly judging, which is again in our human nature, we judge, we say things are good, things are bad. But it's like literally knowing, like I could be on stage and be like, wow, everyone right now is out there genuinely forming an opinion if they like me or not.
Yeah.
And especially too when you're a touring act, when you do shows, your ticket sales matter so much, not only for yourself but your whole entire team, and it's all basically your face and your music selling it. And your music can be amazing too. You could be the best out there, and if some reason you're still not likable, or people don't necessarily like attach to you and your being and you're like outside, then it can be stressful to put that weight onto like one person. Like if you don't sell these tickets, then blah, 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 that kind of stuff. But I feel
Yeah.
like, yeah, the biggest thing is just kind of being perceived, and social media in general. Like no one, I don't really think that anyone's wired to be perceived by that many people. And so the blessing that I see from that is like I have learned to build such an armor and a strength that like no matter what someone's opinion is of me, I know myself. And it's something you work on every second of every day, right? Like,
Yeah.
but I've gotten like really good to the point where it's whether I see a hate comment or or someone in person, whatever it is, like
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, how can I still like stay zen, not let that even like let my heart flutter just a little bit? Like
Mm.
that does not phase me. And if anything, it's in a weird twisted way, it makes me sad because I'm like, wow, there really are. Whenever you get like hate, it's like there's a lot of sad people out there, and
Yeah.
people only like hate and judge when they're judging themselves. And so seeing that, I'm like, again, back and forth between like, oh, I'll show you, and then like, I want to send you like, do you want to go get like coffee and a cookie or something? Like, I hope you feel better. And
Yeah.
so a lot of the times too, I try to like even make friends with people that write hate comments.
Mm.
I'm friends with some of them now because
Yeah.
it's like, hey, like, yeah, like I was actually in a live the other day and I was talking about this and the guy was in there and it's so silly because at first someone writes that it's like, wait a minute, like let's look at this from a non-triggering perspective and be like, okay, what's this person going through? We could probably be friends, honestly. And
Yeah.
honestly, maybe I even have the same opinion as you, like no
Yeah.
one's perfect and people kind of expect perfection when you're online. And for me, I just started online as a kid. I've always been that way as a joke, like just for fun, like making videos, making music. Like I've just been online to have fun. And that's always been my reason to be online because if I didn't have this job, I probably wouldn't be online with like social media in these days and age. But I've always been on there for fun. And I'm so thankful I've had that perspective because I've never gotten in my head about like, am I good enough for this? Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what people think. And
Hmm.
so I hope more people can like take that and if you want to post yourself. I love telling people to record themselves and make your vlogs because watching it back is like, again, such a blessing.
Mm.
And you get to just see your growth even more. And so, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I I love that because I think one of the things you touched on was just how tricky it is to navigate, obviously social media, being perceived, and then like being able to see those things from a different perspective, being able to see it from this lens of like, okay, from you said from like a non-triggering perspective, and like that's a very like mature way of looking at it that some people don't develop forever. So I'm curious for you, like, how did you develop such a mature mindset and an ability to do that at such a young age?
Thanks. Probably trauma. Yeah, yeah, like when you go through things, like you learn a lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's like also I was raised in a very, very strict household. And so like even though there's a lot of my perspective of like that was traumatic, I did still learn a lot of like again to be tough, build that armor and like know myself. Like that's how I was like programmed, I guess. And again, just like it's a everyday thing. Like I genuinely do wake up every day and I'm like, okay, how can I learn or be better? And
Hmm.
even if like I'm still human, so I have my days, I have my weeks, my months, I go through it. I have my crash outs, like big ones. But
Hmm.
how do I transmute that? It's like, okay, I'm gonna cry about this. I feel better now. Like there's release, and then how can I put that back into my art and like teach people and like share that experience so then other people don't feel alone because a lot of the times when you're like going through something you just feel everyone just feels so alone, you
Hmm.
always do. And you sometimes it even if you do know, it's still good to hear back like, hey, like we're all going through our humanness and our craziness, our ups and downs, and some downs are like really really
Yeah.
bad. You don't know if you're going to come back up, but like every time you hit rock bottom the only way to go is like looking back up. And transmuting that and making that into a period of, okay, growth, learning. Again, I feel like I'm genuinely, and we're all genuinely here to just experience that physicalness and
Yeah.
everything that comes with the physical world. And so all of your lessons that you learn will never be too much for you to take. Like, I genuinely think that everything that happens in our life, number one, like we create it, but number two, we learn, and we wouldn't go through anything that we can't come out stronger. And I think that's a beautiful thing about the universe. Like, some reason it is wired with love and growth. And I don't know why. It's like frustrating because it's like, why do I have to look like that? Like, why do I have to, why can't I freaking angry forever? And then it's like, well, just some reason it's not like that.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah.
Yeah. Um, I'm curious for you. You talked about like trauma and like rock bottom for you, and I'm curious, like, is there have you had like a moment where you feel like you hit like a true rock bottom for you in your life that like did sort of propel like a new version of yourself?
Oh my gosh, so many times. And I think it's so funny because so many, we hit, again, as humans, like we think we're gonna like go through something once and then it's like done forever. It's like, nope, every day there's something. But I think that, at least for me, big changes in my life happened like towards a little bit before COVID times, and then like during that period where my parents were separating.
Mm,
And it's it was a mess, and it still is a mess, to be honest. And so that happening really just like my whole, just shakes the family. Number
yeah.
one, it just new person coming out of that. And then also in 2017, around like that same time period, I had three important people pass away in my life that, like, before that happened, I was like in a mindset of like nothing fucking matters. I'm atheist, I'm depressed, I don't, like everything I've learned is a lie, blah blah blah. Like, I was genuinely like in a really really bad spot. And like, believe it or not, like when they passed, it like woke something up in me, and to like reconnect to, I guess, like my life path that I've been on, and like with spirit and the universe, and studying it and learning about it. And when these people passed, it really jumped, like put a kick in my door of like, I need to really take this project as far as I can take it. Like, why not? Because one of the guys who passed was, my friend that told me that I should start being a DJ. And the other one was my grandpa, and the other one was one of my good friends, Brandon. And if you know about like me and my stories, like I have so many stories with them since. But in a weird puzzle piece way, it's like that happening has helped me teach and show people so many magical things about the universe that I knew was there. I doubted 100%. And then these people passed, and they showed me how real it is. And like, I have spirit experiences with them like almost every single day. And it's like I've learned like a language with them. I'm like developing my sixth sense, which people are always like, what is that? And what does that really mean? Because they think it's like you just see a ghost. It's so much deeper than that. And so like really just like losing them has pushed me on this path of where I'm sitting right now. And and then yeah, like that was back in the day. Like that was probably my deepest, lowest, rock bottom I've hit yet. Who knows? There could be a deeper one. But and then another thing that happened that really like, that was like what for the Zingara project, and then for Gabrielle at least, when I was on tour, the rave tour with Ella's Dream, I think it was 2 years ago now.
Hmm.
It's my first tour bus. I was going through a really hard relationship at that period, getting like ungodly cheated on.
Oh.
And I also injured my legs, and I didn't get help. And it got to a point where, um, I'm finally now, like this year, like it got to a point. So that was 2 years ago. I went like a whole other year without doing anything, at least for my body, and just got to such a low point that with my shows, I was like, I can't go out and fake like my happiness.
Yeah.
That's so off brand for me. But that's off brand for Gabrielle. Like is the main thing. Like I like what's going on. And so it really was like, okay, I like genuinely need to stop putting all of my eggs into like the Zingara project basket and like go back to Gabrielle and like what do I need for my mental health, my eating habits, working out, being healthy, my legs, getting help for my knees. I found out that again, this was a year and a half later because this was in July of this year, that I had 11 injuries in my body.
Wow.
Um, ACL, both my ACLs, my MCLs. I think there was LCL, meniscus, my ankle. Yeah, that
What
I
were
was.
you doing? Were you like a pro athlete at some point? Like what was going
Oh,
on?
I well, I grew up a dancer, like
Mm,
competitive dancer, and actually the first time I hurt my meniscus was in 2017 when I. That's why I started DJing because I
mm,
couldn't dance anymore. And my friend Noy that passed, he was like, "Why don't you just try to DJ eventually? Like you don't have to be as competitive dancing, but you still have the music, you still tell your story, and blah blah blah." And I was like, "Wow, honestly, never thought of that." And so that's
I
like
hope
what
that's exactly how
started.
you said it too.
And so then like on the rave tour, it was Halloween night, and at the same time I was getting cheated on, I was on stage, and at the very end of my performance, I was like on top of the DJ decks, and I like jumped off,
Mm,
and like that's totally a normal thing. And like when I was a dancer, like my thing was like jumps and leaps and like tricks in the air, and so I was like, psh, and I just landed flat foot, and I just remember like when I landed, I was standing up, and I was like, oh, something's very wrong. I could barely walk on the rest of that tour. That was 2 weeks
wow.
into an 8, 9 week tour. I knew it was like a lifetime dream of mine. And as I'm like going through a horrible relationship and I can't walk, I'm like, I can't quit. I literally can't. I was like, I need to go. Everyone's telling me like, maybe you need to stop, maybe you need to go home. I was like, there's no way. And so I just made it work. Like icing, timing my Advil, because I
Mhm.
couldn't go to a doctor even if I wanted to on the road really because I went to, go to the urgent care in whatever state I'm in, and then they're like,
Yeah.
well, you have to go to the MRI and all these appointments, and it's like I don't know who to recommend you to. So I had to basically wait until I was home anyways, and then it just got to a point I was just so mentally down bad, like I couldn't even like bend my legs and then like stand up all the way. So I was just like, I'm just gonna lay down and just wait for it to maybe heal itself. Didn't work. I feel way better now, by the way. Like I'm in a great place now. I got help, but yeah, that was like rock bottom. Like I physically and mentally was not well, and it was like I literally waited to a point which don't recommend to where I literally couldn't stand anymore.
Wow.
And yeah, so don't do that. But that was when I was like, okay, something like needs to change tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so I've
Yeah.
been on it. This has been my like self help year, and really yeah, get help, don't wait, do it, and also make it fun. Like I found fun ways to heal myself. Like it
Mm,
doesn't have to be like annoying, I think. It's like kind of why my brain was putting it off, but yeah.
yeah. What are some fun ways you use to heal yourself?
Okay, so first of all, I met a chiropractor who is amazing. His name is Mike, and he's introduced me to so many amazing healing mindful people that are like involved with body healing and mindfulness and like just like the combo of that. And so going to him is just amazing. It's just such like a vibe every time I go like and get adjusted by him. Like I'm just learning so much about myself, the world, the universe, friendship, like even my body and just how much like that stagnant energy was in me. I didn't know. My producer neck like went from like all the way down here to like being a little better. But then like yeah, he introduced me to this other guy I've been going to. His name's Aaron, and they have a place called St. P Calisthenics that I go to, and it's like a fun, like it's a gym, but it's like a gymnasium. It's everything, and they throw shows, and like it's all about like return to play. And so like instead of going out to the bar, like we can come hang out here and like play on the equipment, and like so it's so fun there, and it like makes me, and I love learning too. So I'm learning so much going there, and so just going to all these different places, and like I don't have to go to the gym every morning and wake up before I have to work and then like be really sore and like push myself. Like you can take baby steps and like just them emphasizing like the baby steps and the journey and like that it can be fun to heal yourself and is made so much difference for me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know
Yeah.
a big person in your like overarching journey, especially with your spiritual path, is your aunt. Can you just like give us a window into like how did that connection initially build and like what were some of the things that you like learned from her?
Oh my gosh, love it. So my Aunt Sandy, it's my dad's sister. I met her when I think I was in middle school. I did not know she existed. Like a lot of my dad's family members, it's a big family. It's a lot to keep track of. But I didn't know she existed because a couple reasons. Number one is because she was a medium and psychic, and my family, like my grandma, is very, very religious, so they did not approve. And then number two, she married a guy that was way older than her, so my family didn't like that either. But so my dad's oldest sister, my dad's the youngest of seven, so his oldest sister passed away, and that's when I met my aunt.
Hmm.
She was coming to the funeral, and I just remember like looking out my window and like seeing this lady, like long skirt, like gypsy-esque lady, and like I just have that vision in my head of like who is this girl? Like who's that standing in my yard? And I want to know her. She looks cool. And she came inside and she introduced herself and she was like, yeah, like I'm a medium. I see ghosts. Like she knew at that point me and my siblings were interested because so many things were happening around my house with my siblings and I already. And she was like, yeah, like that man you keep seeing in your dreams, in like the basement energy, like don't worry, like he's gone now. I
Hmm.
was like, how did you know that? And so ever since then, we just got into it. And so she lives in Arizona, and when I was living in Maryland, she would visit for like 1 to 2 weeks once a year after that, until like my parents separated. So that was a long time. Middle school up until like college for me, she's visiting once a year, and that whole time she's training my siblings and I, my family, my friends, and whoever wants to join. So we'd have these angel circles where we would come learn all topics of the universe. So like we dive into she certified us in Reiki. We would do like telekinesis, telepathy, like moving things with our mind. We do spells. So we learn about the moon and like the planets and the phases and full moon ceremonies. We do like candle melting ceremonies, learning about all the herbs and the colors and numerology, learning about mediumship, the astral realm, like
And how
really
old are
just
you at this
all
point?
of those. Well, I started really like I would say class was in session that week when she passed. So
Okay, wow.
so that was when I was again in middle school. I'd say like I was around like 11, maybe younger than that.
Hmm.
Um and then after that, so we're learning everything and we have our dowsers, we have our pendulums, we're like calling in spirits, we're calling in the angels, like we're like as a kid like I'm doing these ceremonies like full on with the fairies, like the fairy rings is all. Didn't know that there was a myth of like the fairies being bad and dangerous because we were full on baking them cakes and singing to them. Yeah. So we learned so much. I still learned from a very like Catholic or Christian, I don't even know. One of those, I was still learning from like that perspective. So I'd still like, we'd call in the angel, like each time we do a tarot reading, we're calling
Hmm.
in the four archangels, we're calling in God the Father, we're calling in Mother Mary, we're calling in Jesus. And then we're putting that light wall up and then we're continuing. She's very serious about that. And I have like different opinions about that. But and so then my grandma passed away a couple years after that, the religious one. Now she says, my grandma, I'm like, since she's passed, she says, God has many names. We tried to tell you that. But when she passed, it was a crazy journey. But like my aunt would bring us like into the room and she'd be like, who are the greeters? Like who's standing here? What energy do you feel? And like really like my grandma visited my sister when she passed. We were learning so many things like wow, angels can change what they look like because my grandma showed up as a younger version of herself. My freaking younger sister's obviously terrified of this random lady in the room.
Yeah.
And so it also woke up the rest of my family because at first they were very closed off and my dad's super closed off. My mom's just more of a free spirit. So it woke up not only like my immediate family, but my extended on both sides. Like we'd
Hmm.
all start doing the ceremonies. We'd all like when the siblings and like their mother passed, they were all visiting them. So they were like, "Oh, this is
Yeah.
dang, our sister was right this whole time."
Hmm.
And so yeah, just parallel to just it stemmed from there. I haven't. been in contact with her for a while since like my parents and
Mm.
everything, but I still write music through her and using her, and we actually a lot of those times we recorded them on a recorder. And so I didn't even know that it was on my computer, all of these sessions, and I found it in like 2022, all of these sessions and all this stuff coming true, and just mind-blowing things, like endless music samples and lessons,
Mm.
but literally everything I just talked about, we have it all recorded, which is awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. That was going to be the next question I was going to ask was like how do you I know that a big part of your music is your spirituality. So I'm curious like how do you take those lessons that you learned from her and what you were doing and like how do you infuse that into your music?
Yeah. So it like hit me one day that I could like combine the two, and I was like, I'm never looking back. This is great. Like, you mean I can
Mhm.
like not only can I like share my stories in my music, but I can also like channel just like I would through my mind in my music. Like I can channel things when I write music. Like I know that sounds crazy, but if I'm saying the thing of I'm gonna come on here and be my most authentic self, Gabrielle's experience is some weird shit happens. Um,
Can you walk us like through that a little bit? Like if you're
yeah,
sitting down to get
yeah,
prepared for creating music and
yeah.
you're going to access this channeling part of yourself, what
So
does it look like?
I have like first of all like number one safe space. Like you have a space with all your energy in it, and like you can fully let go. Like you have to, even if like I'm in here and some of my like new friends are in here and I can't, like it's not happening. Like you have to
Mm.
be like fully out the ego. And so I light a couple candles right now on my desk. I changed them out, but right now I have a Hecate, an Anubis, and a Bastet candle. So I light candles for little deities. And even just, you don't have to even say, like, when you're trying to communicate with the universe and spirit, you don't have to talk out loud. So, like, just in my head, I'm like, little prayer, little inviting in whoever I want to give me the message that day. And sometimes I do that, and sometimes it's totally unintentional. Like, my
Mm.
song I just previewed yesterday, like, the channeling with that was completely unintentional. And so I'll just be sitting there, and it just happens when you get into a flow state. And so if you study or know anything about flow state, like, you're in your flow. Like you're in a completely, it feels, I tried to write this out yesterday, like in my journal, like it feels like there's just something in there. Like there's a new like zone you're in. Like all of a sudden you're just like, my brain just like is in that zone. Um, and so yeah, I'll just be in my DAW, like I'll be in Ableton and I'll be writing and in that flow. And sometimes like it takes a little bit. I can be in there for 30 minutes. I can be in there for an hour. I can be in there for 5 minutes. And like that zone just hits. Like I'm just like, oh yeah, like it's just I just know. And
Mhm.
then like again in that flow state with writing, like I'm not even thinking. And it's cool because when I'm aware of it and I'm like, how is this pouring out of me? Like I don't even know because I'm not telling myself to do it.
Mm.
It's just like stuff like it just like comes out of me. Like people say they have like a sound. I'm like, girl, I don't know. Like that's just what comes out of me. I think
Mm.
that really every single person that writes music and gets into a flow state, even if you don't write music anyway, like you're channeling. And I think it's like not talked about enough, and like people don't really know that, and they just like it's known and it's been studied that when you are channeling, whether it's spirit, your loved one, an angel, a whatever you want to call it, like God, whatever you want to channel, because there's a million things out there. Number one, it's through your own voice in your mind almost, and that's like I definitely recommend people to do research on that because that's when people it gets confusing because then people don't know how to separate themselves from their own voice in their mind. Like who's hearing that voice in your mind right now, right? Like I think that the voice is Gabrielle, but like I'm hearing it. So like that same voice that comes through again without even really thinking um is a channel and for everything. And that's why my aunt was like very particular about like make sure you're like being specific about like who you're letting in. And some people like a lot of trained mediums would say that there's no like dark energy, like there's no demons out there. I
Yeah.
have like, again, the Gemini moon in me 50-50 because I've had a lot of dark demonic experiences.
Mm.
But at the same time, I'm the one that's deciding it's dark, right? So
Mm.
nothing's really good or bad. We are deciding it. We as conscious beings and humans and how much we've developed, we have our morals that we've developed, but nothing is actually good or bad. We
Yeah.
make it bad. I like to give the example my uncle gave me years ago that, like, if I was hungry and I was looking in the fridge and I saw an orange, I'd be pissed off because I'd be like, damn, it's just an orange, right? Like, I want more food than that. But if someone that like genuinely was like actually hungry and felt hunger for a while and they saw that orange, they'd be so thankful for that orange. Like,
Yeah.
I'm putting that opinion onto that thing. And so, yeah, maybe there's demons out there, which I feel like there are. There's bad energy. I mean, again, mainly it's physical. Like, there's bad people out there and there's bad energy. And if a place is haunted, it's just like the energy that's there. It's not necessarily like a physical person or demon, but it's like back and forth in my brain. So it's like I genuinely think that like when you have those darker experiences, it still teaches you. But a lot of people, when they open that spiritual doorway, I think it's very important to be aware of that because when things come into your mind and and if you don't know how to detach yourself from that voice, it could be telling you to do some really fucked up things. And
Yeah.
you know, so yeah, so anyways, yeah, I get into like that channel mode and I'm in a really deep flow state and so many times where I again, it just feels like the song was already written. Like I have a joke that my ghost producers are my ghost. Like love to say since I'm a girl, I don't do it myself. Like I I wish you guys could I wish those people could just like tap into my life for a week and see that genuinely all I do is sit here. Um like really have no life besides that making music. And I enjoy like I love it. I love learning. And so it's just so funny because yeah, like I love telling the haters and that kind of thing. Like, well, maybe I do have a ghost producer, but it's my ghost. Like it's still in my own mind. It's still
You
me.
have
It's
the
still
Ratatouille effect.
yeah, you know. Yeah, like the other I have an EP coming out this week on December 12th and
Yeah.
I have a song called Purple Plum Trees in there and it's such a long story. The long story short, I had my friend and my cat sitter come over to play guitar for the song and we both ended up singing and like hanging out for the first time, like really just one on one and so many amazing sessions, but getting to show that guy like the Diego, like the channeling and how it works. He's so mind blown. It's so funny getting to like experience it with other people that haven't experienced it with me for the first time
Mm.
because I'm like, yeah, by the way, number one, I'm crazy. Number two, we're gonna experience some weird things together. Number three, get ready for it. So,
Mm.
you know, we recorded so many different versions of the song and just after editing it and rearranging everything when we were listening to it back and like the whole time we were thinking and basically I got this download in my head. I was writing the song and I got this download of I call it a download. It's like the flow state channeling where I saw Kali, which again I have so many background stories with Kali. She's a Hindu goddess. She actually is known for getting rid of demons, so take that as you will. But she we kept saying that we felt her energy come through and long story short, when we were listening back, we had these like lyrics pop up. I saw a picture of her in my head of her like as the purple plum tree, which is the title of the song, with like her arms were like the branches and the roots. And then I had this like melody come in my head, like Fala Kalima. And I heard the melody and I was so confused because I was like, where is this coming from? You know, like I we sang it, we rearranged the song, we heard the final product, we were shook, and then we translated the words and we realized meant speak Kali Ma and thank you
Mm.
Kali Ma. Like so the whole time we're like chanting in the song like speak Kali and we didn't even know. And so yeah, it's so powerful and I feel like and again, we're just like our intentions with making it like let's have freaking fun, like let's
Mm.
tap in, you know? And so that being the product is like the deeper I think of it, like yeah, the song is just like fun and silly, but then you can think of it in a deeper way of like why is she coming through? Is it like not only for my personal lessons that energy of like getting rid of darkness, but also like when people listen to it, whether they know or not, it's like getting rid of like the darkness in that room like around them. Like it's like her energy coming through and healing the planet and like when you listen to that, you know, getting to put that out and have that little like hee hee moment like these people don't even know like we're healing them and they don't even know like music's so healing is like the coolest thing and yeah I wish Diego was here to like tell you like just from his perspective how he would because this is the first time something like that's happened to him, and like the
Mm.
channeling and getting in that zone flow state. So it was so funny to see because at one point I had him sitting down on the ground with a pashmina over his head, like rocking. I was like, come on, like just like it worked. He was singing.
It's awesome.
So yeah.
Yeah. Have you had like a lot of those other do you do a lot of channeling when you're doing collabs? I know you've done like some stuff with Stellar and like other things like
Oh
art. Yeah.
yeah. So my EP I just did with so many people, like almost everyone I work with, like we just get into a zone. I love showing them that. And again, some people already know, like obviously as an artist, like we've heard of like the flow state, but it's like, what really does that mean? What are we
Yeah.
really doing here? Where is this really coming from? Because again, like I'm putting my hand up and I'm like blinking. I'm not telling myself to blink. It's the same as like when I'm writing that music, I'm not telling myself to do it. It's just doing it. It just becomes natural. Like the more you do that. But anyways, with Stellar, so much with her. So love her so much. So many lifetimes together. And so my EP we just put out together a couple months ago. It's called Is This Real? And when we were writing the intro song to Is This Real, the intro song talks about basically the perspective of an old woman about to die, her memories flashing before her eyes, and like what does that mean? And just kind of this woman experiencing that. And when we were writing it, again, like I found this sample, I just thought it was really sick, and I thought it could teach people a lot. But as we were writing it, I got a call from my mother that my great grandmother was passing away. And there's so much tea with that, so many ghost stories within that. And Stellar was in the room. I didn't know I was getting that call. And basically, my great grandmother on the phone, she was literally experiencing that in that moment. She was describing to me, because again, we talk about the ghost stories. So she was describing to me what she was seeing, her loved ones, her visitors in the room, all of these spirits in the room with her. She was seeing the light. She was describing to me all this, and I was guiding her through and telling her it's okay and everything we've talked about. Because we, like a year before, me and my great grandma, we had a conversation. Like she knew she was gonna die that month. It was, and I recorded that too because I'm just like that. But so she's also tapped in her own way, and so I was like, just we were hearing her experience this like firsthand, what we were writing about. So we were like, once that by the time that came out, she passed already, the song, and I don't like to say someone died, like she passed. She passed on. She's in the realms, trust me. And it's sad if people think that when people pass you like lose that connection forever. It's totally that's an illusion. So basically we're listening back to the song and it's already out and we're like, wow, like first of all, she was the quickest spirit to write a song. She wrote it when she was still halfway in her body. Like that song's definitely for her. And just the stories that have come out after that having to do with the song and all those people I was explaining earlier, like it's all connected in such a deep way. So many like pieces to the story so yeah, like we definitely Stellar and I definitely channel some stuff. And I love like I have it I call it the Zingusi retreat when my friends and producer friends come over to my house for a couple days in Florida. Like, we'll go to the beach, we'll go on a little hike, we'll come make music, we'll pull cards, we'll do the witchy things, and then we'll tap in the song in the realms. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Very.
me and Sammy Ellis dream some craziness too. He's like
Yeah.
I call him like my little soul dad. Definitely many lifetimes with them, and so yeah, so many stories. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a story that you want to share?
Um, I'm like, let's think of like the I guess even connecting with the purple plum trees story is that the first time I went to Sammy Ellis Dream's house, like the first time we were actually hanging out one on one too, so I was very nervous.
Was this like
And
after you've toured with them and
before
before?
tours,
Okay.
this is like July before that tour, so what, July
Got it.
2023, I
Okay.
think. Bad with time. And so we were at his house, and obviously we get same thing. Like, let's get into the flow state. Let's talk about all of our stories. We call it we have tea time, and
Mhm.
then we pull cards, and we pulled the Heka card, which is the Egyptian god Heka, And so then that just became like a joke with us. We'd be like, that's hecka sick. Like hecka and the god of like magic and creation and all that kind of stuff. And
Mm.
so basically, at the time it was cool and funny and, we were like, wow, we really tapped in and made a beautiful song and will we ever finish it? Who knows? But after that, it became a joke with the hecka sick and this is hecka awesome. And then it hit me one day that in all these different religious forms, Kali, Heka, Hecate, Hecate is the Greek goddess, Heka, Egyptian, Kali, Hindu. All of them are like basically the same being in different stories. Like their own entities, just like Gabrielle is still one, but like Gabrielle and Zingara, right? It's like the same
Hmm.
thing as like Hecate, Kali, and Heka. So this whole time I've been joking, like saying Heka, and I've had these stories with Hecate over the years and Kali over the years. That it hit me one day. I was like, "Oh my gosh! I've been saying this. I've been pouring out that same energy out of my mouth this whole time, not even realizing it's the same freaking story, you know." And I just think that those like connections are like the coolest, most magical things because again, like with Kali and Hecate at least, like I when I first discovered them, it was in my own mind. I didn't know they existed until I like saw it. And then after, like I'd do my research and be like, what the heck is that? Why is this here? And so that's why it's the coolest thing for me because it's like, how did I know that? I didn't. It came to me somehow, and then I found out it was like a real belief or a real person or entity or god or goddess, right? And I was like, wow, like okay, what lessons am I learning here? What am I going through right now that like that energy is like coming through for some reason?
Yeah.
And it's like healed me in so many ways. Like when I got off that Ellis Dream tour in 2023 and I had a crazy Hecate moment and she's known for being like, don't let yourself get walked on. And that's like a crazy story, but long story short, that's how I was like, yeah, I need to end things with this guy.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I don't have a choice at this point because I'm not trying to piss her off. Yeah, it
Did you
was.
throw
Yeah.
like curveballs in your path or like what?
So okay, I'll dive into it. I mean, it's a good story to share. I haven't shared this on the internet yet, but and so, basically, I woke up. It was like January after I got off the tour. I woke up one day. I was feeling really triggered, by with the guy I was with, and we're half with at that point. Who even knows?
Mhm.
And I recorded a video. I would do like a lot of like personal just video documentaries where I never posted it, but just like how I'm feeling in the moment because then I don't have to like tell anyone else. I can just get it out and I just keep it private and just like whatever. So I was recording one of those, and I was like, I hope he has to feel every way he made me feel times three, which is like not like me to say. And when it came out, I felt like literally like a tonal shift in my voice to where like in the video I'm like, and some reason, like the first thought, again, really practicing, like trusting my intuition, like first thing that comes to my mind was Hecate. And I haven't heard that name in like years, right? And so I was like, what? My friend Christy, this was on a Sunday. So later, before my friend Christy came over, I had plans with my friend Jess that night to go to these train tracks because she saw a sign that has to do with my friend Brandon that I mentioned earlier that passed away, and we connect him with train tracks. And so she saw a sign that was like, we need to go. Brandon says go to the train tracks. And so I had plans with her to go, just like sit there with her for my friend Brandon. And by the way, she's never met him. He's like everyone's angel at this point. And yeah. And so my friend Christy comes over before Jess gets there, and I'm like, Christy, like, girl, like Hecate's in the air today. I don't know what's going on. I told her what happened. Then we had like about like 100 crows come in my back tree. And we're like,
Wow.
okay, something's going on. I opened my Duolingo and my lesson of the day was trains. And I was like, okay, there's too many, something is about to go down. Like me and my friends, and especially like Christy and Jess, like we just always know when no matter what is going to be, like based on the sign or like animal or number or whatever we see, we're like, okay. Like the other day, my friend Christy texted me too, and she was like, she saw crows, and she's like, something's going to happen. And then someone passed away. So it's like that for us. So we saw the crows, Duolingo. I was like, oh my God. So I didn't tell Jess like any of this was happening. And so Christy leaves. Jess comes over later that night, and she comes to my house holding this candle, the Hecate candle, with
Nice.
a key and a cat thing. And I was shook. I was like, holy fuck. Like, how I I'm scared. Okay. I didn't tell you this. She said she went to the crystal shop and the lady told her to get it for me.
Whoa.
So then she comes in and it hits me and I was like, what? Where you're supposed to go to start working with Hecate is the crossroads, like the train tracks. And I was like, I'm not lighting this candle. Like, I'm scared of this witch. Like, I'm not doing it. I was like refusing. I was like, I don't do like that witchcraft stuff anymore. I was like, like I'm not doing it. And Jess was like, please, it's for Brandon. I was like, okay, fine. So we go to the train tracks, and the lighter I had wasn't working. And I was like, see, Jess, like, it's a sign. We're not supposed to light a candle. And Jess was like, no, Gabrielle, like, there's a gas station, like, less than a mile off the road. Let's just go get a lighter real quick and come back. Like, we're already here. And I was like, oh, fine.
Sure.
It just keeps getting crazier. It just keeps getting. So then I'm at the gas station, and I'm literally getting out of the car. I'm not even fully out the car. And there's this old lady, and I would describe her this whole time as like the old lady from Snow White, like the witch, like Apple. And she was like, do you want 2 Bics for $1? And I was like, what? And I turned to Jess and I looked back and I was like, can you repeat that? She's like, do you want 2 lighters? And I was like, yeah, actually, like that's actually exactly why I came here. So I just reach in the car again. I'm not even out the car. The door's not closed. I grab 4 quarters. I give it to the lady and we go on with our business. And we were like, that lady was not freaking real. Okay. So keep that in mind. Like that lady was an NPC for sure. Like she was not real. Like she was waiting for us. Like, hey, I heard you want a lighter. Here you go. Like we're like, then it gets weirder. So we go back to the train tracks and I light the candle and so before like this happened, like I wanted to do like a cord cutting ceremony, which is like when you, but again, I'm like, I'm past my witch days, so I'm not going to do that. But
Hmm.
in my head, I knew I wanted to like, it's when you light 2 candles and you like attach like a string to it and you let it burn. It's this whole ceremony based on how it burns and yada, yada, yada. So I knew I wanted to do that. Tell me why I lit this candle and the wick of it slowly turns to the side. The flame splits into 2 and then it slowly burns like a little cord cutting ceremony. And me and Jess are looking out the candle on the train tracks. We're like, oh my God, this witch is cutting my cords. What are we going to do? And so, yeah, we got back. I asked my friend that worked with Hecate, I was like, who's that old lady? And she's like, have you heard of the crone? I was like, no. So I look up the crone and the meaning, and I think you all listeners should go look it up. But basically, she's a lady that comes in with like the same energy of like standing up for yourself, blah blah blah, doesn't take shit. Basically, when I looked it up, I was like, oh my God, this looks like the freaking lady. So I sent it to Jess, and I was like, who does this look like? She's like, it looks like the crone. I was like, the lady at the place. I was like, yeah, exactly. And then comes to find out, apparently, like I looked up a year later that the folklore like behind Snow White. Apparently, like the witch is supposed to like be a representation of the crone.
Hmm.
So this whole time in describing it is like the lady from Snow White, and it's like literally her. So we're like, yeah, our conclusion of that story, that lady wasn't real. I need to call this guy over and tell him off, and then go about my life. And so that's what we did. And the thing kicker was that we got 2 lighters from that lady, and Jess was with me. So I was like, what cords are you cutting, baby? You know, like this isn't just me. This is me and you. And that projected us into a whole where we're sitting now, you know? And so that was like the start with Hecate, like now, because I knew about her before, but and ever since then I realized then I have a song called Unlock Your Keys, which is where we had this whole music video, my friend Jess that went to the tracks with me. And key is like another sign for Hecate too. And so calling it Unlock Your Keys, I should have known. But she was in it and she was dancing like on the pole for the first time, and I've been using it in my visuals. And just like we really like really stepped, we like unlocked our keys when we made that
Hmm.
song, and like we never knew like where it came from. Like really, like what did I pick up? What did I channel? And then when the Purple Plum Trees Kali thing happened, like the whole time I was like, oh my God, like it was, that energy we're picking up on, like the Hecate energy the whole time, like
Yeah.
in that song. And so yeah, that's like one of my little ghost stories. And again, like ghosts and like the signs and the ghost stories, like it's not that I'm literally seeing like a magical ghost Casper figure standing in front of
Right.
me talking to me in full sentence. It's like code. That's why I called like my first album The Code of Dreams, because it's all like
Mm.
metaphor code, but not in like a weird way, you know what I mean? Like there's a balance
Yeah.
there, you know, we can be on earth and grounded at the same time, like learn about these spiritual experiences and use it to our like our creativity and to teach and uplift other people too. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. You talked earlier about getting to tour with Ellis Dream, and you just recently finished a tour with both Closey and Ellis Dream on their LSD tour. I got to see you perform there, and you were awesome. And I know that from listening to a previous podcast that those are two of your top three artists. Even I think in 2021, you were like, Closey's my favorite artist. And so you literally got to travel and tour
Yeah.
with two of your top artists. Like, A, what was that experience like for you? And then B, like, what did you learn from traveling with them and spending that time with them?
Yeah. Let me preface this on how I even met them and got connected because this is gonna blow your mind. Back when during COVID days, you know, I'm praying to my friend Brandon, and I'm like, dude, I need help. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm doing with this project. Like, I don't have a manager. Like, I'm praying for like the perfect manager. And in comes, I had a meeting and a call, and people like gave me a couple different manager names, but I heard the name Brandon. I said, sign me up. I don't care who it is. I don't care what I don't even care. Like, do a call, right? And now, past couple years, he's been my manager. He's the biggest blessing, the whole team, like biggest blessing. But the funniest part is that he also worked with Ellis Dream and Closey. I didn't
Mm,
know, you know? And so just like, oh my gosh, like when I found that out, I'm like, poof, mind blown. Everything else I was specifically asking for in a manager, like Brandon sent Brandon. And yeah, and so when I toured with them, like first of all, it's always scary meeting people that you've listened to their music or like looked up to in certain ways because you just
yeah.
never know how it's gonna be. And they're amazing. Like, thank God. Because they are incredible. They're so silly. They're so wise. They're so like beyond talented. They're so dedicated, motivated, like hardworking, inspirational. Like I can go on. Like all the affirmations, that's them.
Mm,
And it's been the biggest blessing get to know them and tour with them. And like it was just so much fun. Like it was so healing, getting to tour with them and see them work their magic and like, you know, just getting inspiration from each other, sharing stories, having fun, playing like our little just like team bonding games. And like I just feel like when I tour with them, it just feels like I'm with my family, like the whole team too. Like the whole entire team is like I have like 5 rave dads at this point, you know, like
mm,
I call all of the guys on the team like you're my rave dad number one, you're my asshole, you know. And so and I just feel like I am just like the baby to all of them too, right? And it's just funny, but you know, it's just it's such an incredible experience, such incredible synchronicities. Like thinking to myself,
yeah.
watching Closey back for the first time, like Bonner years ago, and then like thinking about the fact I used to like make dances when I was dancing to Brills, and I didn't even know that was him at first,
Hmm.
which is Ella's Dream's old project if you're listening. But so many projects, and just again hearing their stories too, and like how like the projects and where they come from and like their background is just also so incredibly inspiring. And like I think the biggest thing I can take from them is like it's never too late, it's always your time. And you can always start something new and branch off in a new direction and stick with like your heart and like just follow your heart the whole time and it'll never lead you wrong. And make the music that comes from your heart and your soul and not necessarily trying to like do it to you're not doing it to impress like other people, you're doing it for yourself. And like those experiences, like the making the music is so fun for me. Like it's so fun performing it and hearing people listen to it, but like I'm genuinely having such a good time like with these people and with myself when I'm writing the music that like I could sit there and I do that all day every day, but it's like I could do that for forever because there's always more to learn and experience and take from that. Yeah, it's just very, very, very blessed that I get to do what I do and connect with them and connect with all of, you know, their people and just like intermingling our cosmic web. I like to say to Sammy that like it's funny that like to meet again in this lifetime, like I had to be a fan first, right? Like the past one, who knows, you know, but like and well, before that, like maybe you're my dad, maybe you're my brother, maybe you're my uncle, right? And like this time, like me, I say that was Stellar too. Like we all had to just be like fans of each other's music and
Mm,
to like meet again. Like that's what it feels like.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a moment for you that comes to mind with Closey in particular that like really stands out for you that like is reflective of your relationship?
She's just like silly, like, and I wouldn't expect that at all, like from her music, because it's just
Mm,
so like ethereal and like just like almost like serious, almost like
yeah.
music. Like you just like really feel it so deep in your soul.
Hmm.
And then she's just like the silliest egg ever. I'm trying to think, like really just like always just in a good mood and just silly and happy to be there. And I think it's most funny and what stands out to me is like when I'd force them to like make TikToks, especially like Chloe, like she's like, what do I do? Like, how do I stand? What do I do? Like, do I have to put this on? And like, oh, Gabriella, you're so embarrassing. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Just doing it. You know, so that would just yeah, and even the first moment like I even met her too, like another crazy weird story too. And this is before I was working with Brandon and her team. I had a dream like that year before that I met her for the first time. We were like at this cave, we're like in this forest, we're talking about like Native Americans, like their belief system, like we're like going in the spiritual realms. And when I woke up, and I've been drawing like one of these symbols like for a while too, like keep that in mind too. Like I also like to draw, and I was kept drawing this like symbol. I woke up and I went on Instagram, I saw she followed me, so I was like, oh, that's a weird coincidence, right? But then I like saw she dropped merch, and it was like that symbol I was like seeing in my head, like it was
Oh,
on there. So then I was like, what weird connection? Like I know I like this girl, and again, this is before Brandon and all of them. Like I had no
yeah.
idea, and so it was really strange to me. And then fast forward, the first time I ever met her was when I played with her at the caverns in Tennessee, and we're literally going a guide about the natives and them using the tunnels for like ceremony and just all that kind of stuff. Like the whole dream like came to life, and it hit me there because that was so in the past. I was like, whoa, like I had like a deja vu, like, oh my goodness, like, dude, what the heck? And Chloe's just like, okay, like she's like down for the spiritual talks, but it's like me and Sammy just like I with a lot of my friends too. I feel like me and Sammy, it's like we just always sound loopy and crazy. So it's just like, she's like, okay. I'm like, do you know what you're channeling in your music? And she's like, Errol, shut up.
That's funny.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What did you learn about like making music from them?
Like a lot of technical shit. First of all, like just watching them produce it, like almost makes me angry. I'm like, okay, whatever, smart ass. But I think that like the biggest thing, and especially like from Sammy, I'd say like I definitely talked to Sammy a little more, but like just not holding yourself back from like putting releasing it. Like something we've been really like working on, like motivating each other too. It's like the song doesn't have to be like you're never gonna reach like perfect perfection, and you're always gonna think you can keep doing something. Like especially with
Yeah.
electronic music, like just put it out. Like it doesn't have to be perfect. Like I don't have to listen to the snare 6 million times to the point where I ruin it. Like just freaking
Right.
put it out. Like and and like love your art and love your work, and don't be scared to like push those boundaries with it, and like just do something else and like start a new project, or go in this direction, this song, and go in this one, the next song. Like, just be yourself. And that's funny because he just started the label Trippy B,
Yeah, yeah.
records. So just be yourself and just be and also like have those moments where like you are losing sleep and you're up in the night in the studio all night together and drinking the yerba to stay awake and feeling like loopy. Like have those nights. That's part of again like the physical humanness. Like partake in it, learn your lessons, do it. And yeah, like I think like just the biggest thing would be like believe in yourself to the point where it's like put out your music because you like it, but also like put out your music because who even freaking cares? Like do it. Like we're on earth, stop judging yourself. Like stop. I like a lot of the times I'd think in like my producer brain where it's like, well, like what if another producer listens to this and like judges how high my hats are, like and I'm like, what? What is that thought? Like get rid of that thing.
Yeah.
Never let it come back, right? So that's
Right.
been like really big with him and experimenting in that way.
Hmm. Very cool. Especially with like like you said, EDM, there's like so much like continued iteration. I think even myself as a fan is like I love the album, but I love the mixes so much more, right? It's like when I get to go see a new show and see the little tweaks that they put into the set, and like
Yeah.
every single time. I think I saw when I went to like 54 shows in a year, and like I think I saw Subtronics almost every single festival that year that I went to, and like every single time to just see his like development from
Yeah.
set to set to set is
Yeah.
like some of the coolest parts about
Yeah.
EDM because it's just like
Yeah.
you can go and you can see that artist 1,000 times and it's never going to be the same, and it's
Never.
it's so cool.
It's like every little piece of the set, and I know Subtronics is that way too. I'm OCD, so it's like I'm very extra with it, but it's like every little part is thought about. Like that's why sometimes I get hate comments with like, "Where are your headphones?" And I'm like, dude, if you only saw me, like, just absolutely like taking it way too far with how like I could sing these songs, even the ones I didn't make that I'm playing my set, for like the rest of eternity and like know every little I can see every little layer of the song and then, just like every little section and meaning and then even my songs, like I'll get like if you listen to my mixes and like my live shows, like it all has to make sense like chronologically. Like I try to bring people on a story and so it's
Right.
like similar words, similar themes. Like even if I'll take a rap song, like I want it to have like the same theme and like essence to it where like the whole thing tells one big story. And that's
Mm.
why I think it's like so fun. And oh, I had like a side thought. You said something funny. Now I lost it. Something with Sammy. Um oh,
What-
I was gonna say too, one of my favorite things like what you were saying of seeing an artist so many times and like I love learning the sets. Like learning
Mhm.
Sammy and Chloe's like every time I've toured with them or anyone, like first time I toured with Sub Doctor, like by the end of the tour where I was like, I know it's coming up next. Like I would love that. And that's something I have to tell myself because I think of and a lot of artists too, like even no matter what your art is, it's like, oh, I have to do something completely different every
Mm.
single time because if one person recognizes like the same, but then I
Yeah.
have and it actually really hit me when my sister was like, "Hey, Gabrielle, can you play this song again?" I was like, "Well, I already played that one last time." And she's like, "Well, I want to hear it again." And I was like, "Oh yeah, you're right. Like I can do that. Yeah, you're so right." So that was like another big thing like I learned from them and like I love like noticing that like by the end of like the LSE tour and then the LS Dream tour and other tours I've been on just like even my own too and seeing my team like know what's coming up and like dancing to the songs and like they would even make their own like dancer teams on side stage like just like getting to that point in like the show and like knowing those pieces and seeing and getting to see their hard work and the changes and the big ones and little ones is so awesome to see from another perspective. But then I have to remind myself, like, okay, I can do the same thing. Like,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah. How do you feel like you grew through that tour with them, and I guess through this almost the second half of this year? Because obviously it was a big journey, and obviously you've had the crazy breakups and all these other things that have gone on before that. Like,
yeah,
who were you kind of at the beginning of that journey, and like who are you now?
I feel like again, like every day I learn a new lesson, and then every time I also like from a Gabber perspective, I learn a new lesson, and then every song I make, I'm like, ugh. Like everything I hear in the past, I'm like, I can do so much better. So like, so like, I think that again, like every time I play a show, I'm learning big things and little things. It's like there will be another mistake that I've like new fear unlocked, like this CD fake glitching and how to do this and but I feel like the biggest like at least from the LSZ tour, the biggest takeaway is was at least for me like family and healing vibes. Like we're literally here to have fun and that's it. Like that's my only focus. I'm not focusing on the ticket sales. I'm not. That was a good thing about me because I was supporting them, so I didn't have to worry about that. But I loved it because just getting to just really just be there and like vibe and have fun with my friends and getting to experience that and see them at work and then me and my team and develop that and the meshing of the teams like now too like their stage manager has now been my tour manager and so like
Mm.
meeting connections and or like one of my tour managers but big teams interchanging teams but yeah, just meeting new people and getting to play in like these new venues and awesome like different size venues because
Mm,
sometimes I'll either play like a festival where it's really big crowd or I'll play like a show where it's like a smaller crowd from like 250 to like 1,000. And this was like the 3 to 5,000 ish range, like a little more than that sometimes and a little less
right.
maybe. So like just completely new buildings to play in, which was so fun. I love exploring the random creepy haunted buildings. And yeah, like just I think and who am I now versus then? I think that after that tour too is like during this whole year has been like self-help. So like now I don't have pain in my knees
Mm,
when I play. Like earlier that year when I was playing, I was still in a lot of pain.
mm,
And so like yeah, it's just been seeing that motivation and like how amazing they are. And then to me where I am now, it's like how can I take those lessons, learn it, keep it with me, and just like literally every day like do better. Like, Sammy Ellis Dream, like he goes on his like retreats and just like hearing like about what these other artists do like was so much more helpful than I thought of like making artist friends because when you have this job, it feels like lonely in a way of like, oh, I have a really cool job and like I'm a person in my life and my world that like I have an amazing, amazing, cool job, but it's like so hard at the same time. And people don't know how to like take it seriously because again, I am sitting home making music and like smoking if I want to. And then I am
yeah,
out
yeah,
like at a festival, but I'm still like, this is like my office, right? So I'm like on the
right.
clock. And so yeah, that's just big takeaway of time management, separation of work and not work, really diving into that creativity, being my most authentic self, like trying new things, all things that I've learned from them
Awesome.
and touring in general. Yeah.
Yeah. And now you've got your big headlining tour with Level Up coming up, and you're even like
Yes.
headlining Red Rocks, which is
Yes.
super exciting. Yeah, I don't know anything you want to share about that tour coming up, or with
Yeah.
your relationship with Level Up, or
Yeah.
yeah.
So Sonia Level Up, I that idea came up like originally because back to my conversation of I love to tour, I love to perform, but like some reason our industry is just like you must sell out these rooms and you must post it on your story that you sold out, and if not, then no one else is getting paid. And it's like, well, I'm not trying to live in that perspective ever again.
Mm,
So I was like, can I tour with a buddy?
mm,
Can I go on tour with a friend? And mesh the teams. And so I felt like Sonia, like my team and I, was just like a really good option to kind of also challenge myself musically because I know she makes just way heavier dubstep than like I've been going in this like very weird spiritual whack music direction to where it's like challenge myself to kind of get back to like my roots in that way of like how I came into the scene and like so I'm
yeah.
excited about that. So I've been making like different types style of music and also like blending our crowds together because I feel like we both share like similar stories. And that's why we call it parallel spirits. Like we're the
Mm,
same but we're like opposite and like we haven't been able to like hang out before this. And so just like seeing all the similarities, like really we're like, wow. I have a thing where it's like all of my tour names and song titles always teach me like a lesson like that and a big one. So every time someone names a tour, I'm like, good luck with that name. But yeah, that's why we called it Parallel Spirits because it's just like kind of those two worlds merging. And I'm
mm,
excited because to see like our crowds come together
yeah.
and like building those audiences, getting in front of new audiences, and just like the story we're developing with it and just tapping into the realm again more of parallel spirits, kind of in a way as above, so below, kind of in a way of like with our EP, what we're doing with, you'll see like a lot of train and crossroads imagery, like I've been talking about, and just like basically like I'm supposed to almost represent like the earth side and like if you imagine like the garden flowery side, and she's like the underworldish like other side,
Mm,
and and so like her imagery would be like like the dying flowers and like the dead ones and like them kind of like coming together and like merging in the middle, which is
yeah.
exactly what mediumship is, which is again what I love to talk about. Like
Yeah.
we're on earth, then there's the other side. And why is it called the medium? Because you're meeting in the middle, like you're meeting in
Mm,
that middle zone to connect. And yeah, we've had that joke this joke going with it, like why the chicken cross the road to get to the other side. Like, duh, it means like to die, like to get to the other side. That's why the chicken crossed the road. So like, yeah, so we're kind of just blending those parallels together, and I'm so excited to see what comes out of it. And then Red Rocks, we just like a lot of conversations of like what, where do we want to do a stop in Denver? Where do we want to play? And Red Rocks has just come up a couple times over the years, and I've always just thought about it in like a certain way, and I wanted to make sure when I did it, like I can have those thoughts become reality. And so I was like holding off because I was like, well, I'm injured, I can't like dance or, but now I
Mhm.
don't have an excuse because it's like I've been getting help, and so I was like, okay, fine, like I'll do it. Because it's scary, but it's really fun, and I'm so excited. Like, just we get to like design the stage, like build out the production. What do we want for lights, lasers? What do we want it to look like? What props do we want? What's the story we're telling? Like dancers, performers. Like we're just taking it and like maxing out the rest of the tour. Like just
Mm.
so it is different. It's gonna be separate from like our main tour, I guess, like sets and like shows. It's just gonna be like that on lots of drugs, basically. Like not literally, but like the show on drugs. Imagine that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, I think it's gonna
Yeah.
be super cool to just see how both of your music influences each other, like throughout that like journey and relationship and stuff like that. Because
Yeah.
I think there's a
Yeah.
lot of you're both great, but you're also very different. Like you said, like you have a lot
Yeah.
of very different styles, and so and yet similar like underpinnings, in a lot of ways. And maybe that's that
Yeah.
parallel journey kind of component to it that kind of
Yeah.
speaks to
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
We're like we're switching who's headlining like in different states. Like it's a co-headline, I think. So we're not going, I don't know yet. Maybe we'll do like a couple little back-to-backs at the end of some nights, but it is separate sets, but like the way that both of our like essences will come together like
Hmm.
is gonna be cool. So I
Yeah.
yeah. So I was like, okay, how do I like take this challenge of like the opposite and like make it work? And I was like,
Hmm.
duh, parallel. And
Mm.
we like P.S. We got our spirits. We got the I have another joke too. The Red Rocks lineup is all boys with like S names. It was like Slang Dog, Sub Dr. Sokka. I'm like, those are spirits. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And then
Um.
even finding out about our personal life, there's so many more parallels than we even thought or knew. Like,
Really.
I was just with her in Denver and just learning more about ourselves, like in each other and our personal like experiences. We're like, no way. Like some of the
Yeah.
craziest shit. We're like, wow,
Yeah.
same.
Anything in particular?
Like mainly like just like some, just personal, like just family things or like stalker things, food things, like really just like everything. I've like, it's just so funny too, because a lot of my friends, it's like we're going through like the same lessons, but like different timelines or like different ways to learn it, if that makes sense. So like,
Yeah.
just like our perspectives, like hearing what we've both like been through to like get to that point. Like I don't want to share like her personal
Sure.
stuff, but like, just how we got to where we are and seeing just so many similarities in that. I'm like, wow, again, I already knew it, our title was going to teach us something, but it's just so much funnier to see like those titles and those like ideologies and concepts like really come to life and bring them
Yeah.
to life. So very particular and a good thing for other listeners pick up like our words are spells. So be mindful when you're choosing, what you're gonna title that song and that tour and stuff because it'll teach you a fat lesson.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, I know that I think in another episode you had said like, you really think a lot about when you go to a festival, I think in particular, like what's the message that you're wanting to communicate through that. I was like wondering, can you like walk us through maybe like that process and like how do you come up with that message? And then what does your process look like as you're building that set?
Yeah, so usually it happens. So like my sets and my live shows go around like the bigger project I'm working on, like in the moment or the year, or the 2 years. And so coming up with that is like a whole thing in itself with just like constantly trying to get in that flow state, see what comes up and the ideas and concepts I want to dive into.
Hmm.
But I think like my main thing and my main, I guess like, well, my main goal is just have fun and be silly and bring that light and that funness. But if I had like specific stories I tell in my set and in my mix of my music is like specifically hopefully like you can take something out of that. And for me it's like, okay, how can I teach people at the same time of the challenge of like we're here to have fun and like we're at like basically like a party, how
Yeah.
can I like blend the fun silliness with kind of the more serious things of like it's time to wake up everybody, like hey, by the way, when you listen to my set, by the end of it you'll probably know we're in a simulation. Manifesting is very real. Maybe we need a new word for it because people, twisted and turned it to some loopy thing. Spirit's real. Your mind is so much more than we think. We have more senses than we think. We have this. Like, it's just like, and I do this thing too. Like I was saying, I have like a lot of my aunt's voice like recorded. Like I like to take certain like sound bites from like different songs or movies, podcasts. Like I take a lot of podcasts and then even like my own old recordings and I like blend those together. So it's like the
Yeah.
whole set now is like we're like you're like having a it's like the movie like Waking Life. You're like in a dream and you're just like meeting a ton of new people and they're like just like telling you all like their most wise thing they could say and it's like clips from all of these different lessons and books and things I've listened to that I like take I kind of like rearrange it in certain different ways and put it throughout the set and bring it in and bring it back and so yeah, like my main thing would be like, hey guys, it's time to wake up and in a fun, silly way though. We don't have to like we don't have to wake up to the fact that like, there's a lot of darkness out there, which is good to be aware of that, but then it's good to again like transmute that and how powerful love is, how powerful your mind is, how powerful like if there's things we need to know about consciousness. We can learn about our aura and why that's important and frequency and the power that music has to heal. And like sometimes I'll even write certain songs in certain keys because I know those keys match up to energy points or people call chakras like in your body to where okay, like I want people to like feel this in their heart now. I want people to feel this here. I want people to learn about their voice. So I'm going to write it in like, this key for the throat and that kind of stuff. And so I'm very mindful about that. Like every little word you hear in my show, my music is like, and every little sound is like probably thought about too much in a way. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I love that because I mean, a lot of my first like strong impotence for like starting this podcast was I was at like EDC Vegas. It's like my second rave ever. My first one was Bass Canyon in 2021, and I was like at this like surprise set that Millennium did, and I was just like bawling my eyes out, and I was just going like, what in the world is this person doing to me? That like I'm having not even just bawling my eyes out, but having a full on like ego disillusionment experience and like sort of a full contextualization of my life and just like having all of this stuff just like hit me. And I was like, I just like want to know what this person is doing. And I was like, and I just remember, one of the first podcasts I ever listened to was the Tim Ferriss show. And he talked about like the reason he started his podcast was to be able to like talk with people that he wouldn't otherwise be able to speak, right? Now I have the opportunity of like speaking with you, which is like I actually pulled like an oracle card this morning, which is called like the arrow, and it was like something about like the whatever like the journey you started like coming to like fruition. Like it's like the thing that you
Yeah.
started is that what
Love
you're
that.
having. And so like I love hearing about those kinds of things where it's like you're using these keys intentionally to bring us in touch with these different some people call them chakra points, but there are like actual like neurological clusters in
Yes.
each of these same areas, right? That and I know like studying a lot of neuroscience stuff is like your brain, for example, has a full on brain that like communicates to your heart has a brain that communicates to your brain and like
Yes.
back down they communicate to each other, right? So like the idea of listening to your heart is like a very literal thing, not just
Yes.
this like abstract idea.
Yeah.
um so I'm just curious about for you, like I would love to know more about like what is the stuff that you're doing with your magic through your music that is like touching and like bringing out these things within us? Because I think raves, festivals, these experiences, especially with EDM, is something that like can be a very transcendental experience. And for anybody listening, completely without substances, by the way.
Yeah. And I think that's actually like a very good point. Like, I don't want people to think that to get to the place I'm at, like where they think that I'm at, I'm not like obviously I've had psychedelic experiences, but like that's not you don't have to be like that every single time. I haven't done that in years. Years. And I'm still having these incredible experiences, and you can partake in whatever you want as long as you're safe. But I think that I don't want people to think they have to like be in that. They don't have to take a psychedelic to listen to my music or do any of that. When you come to a show, you don't have to do that at all. And if anything, the goal would be, if you've done it before, how do we get to that point? Not necessarily the whole point, but how do we get to that cool bliss state,
Yeah.
being sober? And because it's possible.
Hmm.
But I think that another thing is, as I do, I'm very mindful that a lot of the people are in the crowd not sober, and
Mm.
so, and I've been in that position. So, what has what have I liked and what have I not liked? I didn't like the scary shit. Didn't like the dark demonic visuals personally. I don't love it.
Yeah.
I can respect it, but I don't personally love it. So like, what do I want to leave people with? Like, if they remember like one thing, like what's like the feeling they left with my show? Like, I want it to be fun and them to feel like love, like, and like happy. Like that's my main, like, I guess, like, goal looking into it. And like, how do I get to that point? It's like, I when I'm here writing the music, it's like I'm sitting in my power. I'm like thinking about certain memories and feelings I've had. And it's like, where do I want to take these people on this journey? And like, usually it starts with like when I'm either like building out a set, like what song do I need for this mix that I can make this like a filler song, but I can still make it into something like special. Or it's like, okay, I'm like working on my EP or an album or a song, and it's like, okay, well, again, like what's the main story I'm trying to tell here? Because again, people connect to stories. People love to connect. And people also, I love to tell and teach people about like the spirit world, because again, there's so much more to the five senses that we have, and that is just 100% fact. And a lot of people think because they don't experience it firsthand that it's not real, or that because they can't see something that it's not real, when again, the sixth sense, or whatever you want to call it, is again, imagine how, like, think about right now, how powerful is your eyesight? So powerful. So like, so many things we can do because we have eyes, right? You don't need them, but we have them. And so
Hmm.
same with the sixth sense. It's so like thick. It's like it's a whole other sense that people can develop and that you can use, and
Yeah.
that it's for everybody. And so it's like, it's the coolest. I get so passionate about it because I think it's the coolest thing. Like, the universe is the coolest thing ever. And I was like
Hmm.
thinking the other day to myself, I was like, I love writing music, and that's like where my heart is, but like the universe like really has my heart. And I was like, that's really wholesome of me. Like, you know,
It's funny the way you're like your
yeah,
facial
like
things
it's
are
so
like being in
fascinating.
love with somebody or like having a crush
Yeah,
on somebody, right?
yeah. And it's like so awful at the same time because I'm like, why? But like, and so it's just like getting to like, I really just like sit there and I put that in my music. Like, where do I want to bring people, and how do I want to make them feel? And like, how am I feeling when I'm writing this? And like, I'll have to, like, even yesterday, like I wrote something and it turned out like pretty dark, and I was like, yeah, probably not. you know, but I want to give people, and I know that their minds, like, I know a lot of people, they come from all places and shapes and sizes and color, like it's all people listening. And so it's like, I have to also keep in mind that there are so many different perspectives, some that have never heard of this before, and some that have heard of it and wrote it off, and some that want to learn more. And so I'm trying to keep all of those perspectives in mind at once, because I
Yeah.
can't just like hit them full on with like, yeah, I talk to dead people, like, I have to like bring them into it, like
You should start
slowly
off the
ease
set
them
with that
in.
line of like, "Yeah, I talk to dead people," and then just
Well,
like go into your
so
set.
funny because I kind of am in like again, in another way. It's like
Right.
my set for next year is like gonna, start out with taking people like to the train, sort of like almost like Harry Potter, like Narnia in the way. It's like
Mm.
we take the
Yeah,
train to
yeah.
the portal, and so
Mm.
when we're like on my side versus like Sonia's side of the portal, like we're gonna be like, what are we listening to? But it's gonna start out with like, what's a sixth sense? Like, tell me about it. And so it just goes like right into it. But again, and like, I have to go from the perspective of, okay, like there's gonna be beginners here and there's gonna be like
Yeah,
experts here, and like, how do I meet them like in the middle
yeah,
with like explaining or making people connect? Because again, I need to connect with people, and so sometimes when I
yeah,
talk way too loopy, how are people supposed to be connected? Because they're like, girl, what the fuck?
yeah.
So I have to
Well, I
like
mean,
ease it in.
for somebody who's maybe made it this far into the show, if somebody is like, I've heard a lot about Zingara, I've maybe watched a lot of her TikToks, I'm really interested, and like you said a lot of these things. If somebody was like, okay, I just want to like try and maybe get started with like activating my sixth sense or starting that spiritual journey, like where would you have somebody begin?
Love it. I so I would probably where do you begin? Probably with like learning about well, step one is knowing that there is a sixth sense slash whatever you want to call it slash more to our senses. Okay, like there is more, and that is step one. Opening up the brain to just be aware, opening up your conscious mind to be aware that there's more. Step one. Once we knock that out the ballpark, I like to knock out the ballpark too. Now that you know that there's more, I need you to also know anything's possible. Like genuinely, like we are in a simulation. I don't love that word because again, it's used and sounds loopy, but like in that way, like anything is possible and it stems from your feeling, not your thoughts. And that's where people get confused because they're like, manifesting is with my thoughts and I don't think highly of myself. And it's like, well, no, it's actually the feeling that comes with that. And that's what we need conscious awareness for
Mm,
of when I'm having those feelings. Because I can be having those thoughts and they're intrusive and it's not me. Again, like a lot of the time, it's not you. So it's when you start to attach the feeling that things manifest. And so pay attention to how you're feeling at all times. Like do check-ins with yourself, even right now. Like I'm feeling good, okay? And if I'm not feeling good, then what can I do in that moment? I'm not putting it off into the future. What can I do right now to make myself feel good? And why that's important for manifestation is because the next thing I would dive into is our aura. People heard of an aura. It's that color that you can go get a picture of. No, it's so much more than that. There's layers to this shit. And I need people to understand that we are all radio stations. Every single one of us is a radio. And we get to change the station based on the frequency. And that is based off how you feel. And that's so easy because we can always tell how we feel, right? We always do. It's just becoming aware of like, okay, right now I am feeling this instead of just letting
right.
it pass. Like I am being more present in that moment, how you're feeling. And that feeling is like that frequency that's coming off of you. And if we were to look at when we're looking at a radio, we can't see its frequencies, but we're hearing the music. Same thing like with us, even though we can't see it, we need to know that we have these frequencies there. And to get what you want and to manifest and do that stuff, you need to follow how you're feeling, which is following your heart. When
Mm,
does your heart feel good? And you keep going towards that moment every second and every little second, and you focus on those baby steps in that now, and then just watch the future, and you'll be shocked still somehow, but you wouldn't be surprised at the same time. Because like again, I like really, really dived into like testing out that theory of like, okay, well, if this is real, I'm gonna do it. And I've literally manifested myself $10,000 checks writing it out. I've literally done like you can, and if I can do it too, like me, think of myself like a little ding dong over here, like anybody can do it. It's just like, again, believing in yourself and changing like and matching that frequency at all times. Like I give the example too of like, all right, when we're all trained to kind of like have road rage, like when someone cuts us off, okay, the next time you like have that road rage, I want you to like keep this conversation in mind and like send that person love
mhm,
and like be like, okay, screw that. That's stupid. This is that like our earth problems are literally nothing on the grand scale scheme of things, right? Like our problems are so minuscule and we're like taught because of this oneness in our own mind that it's so much bigger. Like someone cut me off, oh my fuck you. Like no, like send them love. And maybe again burnt toast theory. Maybe it's like you they needed to cut you off because that was gonna get you to this next place at the time you're
mhm,
supposed to be, right? So change that perspective. But yeah, so learning about the aura, like there's different layers to it. And that's how, mediumship kind of comes in with different layers, but it's really just like sit there, whether you want to close your eyes or not, and just imagine like at all times when you're in that moment again, like someone cuts you off. How am I feeling? I'm feeling angry. Okay, I'm gonna send that person love. And like as I'm sending that person love, I'm sending myself love. And like imagine, because it really is happening, your aura is like expanding. And it's always changing color. Like sometimes people are like, well, someone told me one time my aura is blue. And I'm like, okay. And right now it's purple, blue, green, like it
mm,
always is changing. And colors have their meanings too, but your aura is always changing and
mm,
pay attention to it. It's not just something you're going to go get a picture of one time and that's forever. It's
mm,
every little second your your radio station is tuning into different places and become in charge. You decide the frequency you want to put out and that's what you get back. So if you decide to change that radio station to love, when you change that radio station from 99.5 to 98.7, you are in control of that. You're changing it. It's the same exact thing for your mind in that frequency. And I think that like the more people dive into like those little concepts, the radio, the aura, frequency, and your feelings, is like dive into that so deep and hear it from every perspective. And again, like the more you study that, you're learning anything else. Just like you learn to ride a bike, you learn about that. You become better at it. You realize it. You become more consciously aware in each moment. And you catch yourself when you start to feel anything but that. And it's funny. And then sometimes it's funny too because it's like, well, I'm angry and I know I'm angry and I like it. So fuck you. Like, I don't want to be happy right now. And that's okay too. Because then where are you on this scale? We can transmute that anger. You transmute the sadness from anger, which is good. And then from anger to like the next thing, like I don't care. And then from the I don't care to like, okay, now I'm feeling, since I don't care, now I'm like happy. You know, it's a journey.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's instant, and it can be instant because time is illusion. And sometimes things take longer. And that's like the beauty of Earth and humanness, that with time, nothing's permanent. It's going to heal, even though it doesn't feel like it. Maybe we're going to have that scar there, but that wound's going to be closed. So it can scar. You can't feel it anymore. It's still there because it's part of you, but that wound closed. I love that little, forget where I heard that for the first time, but I'd love to give that. But yeah, everyone should dive into, just know literally anything is possible as long as it comes from your heart.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So none of that weird ego shit, because then well, ego's very important, okay? Egos are important. That's what makes us us, and that's why we're here, to learn who is Gabrielle, right? Who is Cameron, like all that stuff. And so dive into that, but keep it in check. And if you're gonna do things just strictly for the ego, you're gonna be at that bottom, like that rock bottom's gonna be knocking at your door. So do things for the heart.
Yeah, I've always loved that. I used to talk about ego when I would work with like a neuroscience company that I worked with, and like I would tell people like it's like your ego is like your guard dog, right? And so like your guard dog can be like really, really well trained at like following your heart and like seeking out like mushrooms in the forest for the things that you like want to go find. Or it can just be like running the ship and like barking at everybody and biting everybody and just like totally out of control. And you just don't want the dog to be like running the ship, right? You want the dog to be following like your guidance. Yeah.
Because you're never going to get rid of it too. Like sometimes people like, like maybe in that moment when you had the ego death, like sure, then you realize that it can be tamed. But like that voice in your head, it's literally its job to constantly talk to you, whether it's good or bad things. And it's your consciousness job to align with it or not. And so even if it's saying those bad things, you can be saying and thinking these things and you don't have to feel it. You don't have to let yourself align with it. Like, okay, this person sucks. Next. Like, I don't have to be like, this person sucks. Like, oh my God. Which again, you can if it's going to work for you. But at least for me, I'm like, you don't even deserve my energy. That's why I'm like, I'm done with this spell stuff. Cause like the last thing I want to do is hex someone with bad energy. I don't want anything to do with you. You know?
Yeah.
I don't want anything to do with you.
I love that. Well, Zingara, Gabrielle, we're at the end of our show, and there's always one question I always ask my guests at the end of each episode, which is like, what's a question that you would have for the audience that might change their perspective or have them think about something in a different way?
I mean, my favorite thing in saying right now is, if you are not, if you, who is the voice? Here's the way to word it. Who is listening to the thoughts in your head? Who is able to hear what you're saying? Because if you're hearing it, then it is not you. So who are you? Who are you? And that's perfect for exactly your podcast, getting to know you. Who really, and again, that's like, again, the question that you started out with, right?
Yeah.
Who is you? Like, what does that actually mean? And in that consciousness that's there, sit with it, because it's not coming from that place of ego. And trust your intuition more. That's not a question, but trust your intuition. And what does that mean? Again, your intuition's always going to come from a place inside of you that, and not actually inside of you too, it's coming from a place wherever in the ether that it's never going to make you feel anxious and you're always going to feel calm. And even if it's something where it's like, maybe we shouldn't do this, it's still from a calm place. So who really is the you if you aren't your thoughts?
Beautiful.
And so with that,
Zingara,
and
anywhere
good
you
luck.
want to send people to, or like follow you on socials or anything like that?
Um, yeah, I'm mainly active on Instagram and TikTok. I'm more weird on TikTok. I'm planning to be even more weird. Just again, slowly working back into that. I love to post vlogs and things on YouTube, and I have a lot of those to edit. So if you want to see more extended craziness too, my YouTube channel, and obviously like that's me on socials. If you want to listen to my music, whatever streaming platform you like to listen on, it should be on there, hopefully. And I think that you should listen because a lot of it again has to do with a lot of my stories, and a lot of them I didn't get to share today. And just know like everything too you're listening to, there's probably a really trippy weird thing that happened to me that got us to that point that you could probably also relate to. So and then also you should go talk to the spirit realm and that voice in your head and go listen to that too. Don't just listen to my music, listen to that. Listen to your consciousness, listen to awareness, get those channels, get those downloads in, and open yourself up to magic because that's real. So,
Beautiful.
yeah.
Thanks, Zingara. This is a pleasure, and we'll have to do it again soon.
Thanks. Yeah.